ladies' fashions aren't the only ones that change. In the rumbling Montreal Locomotive Works, they're turning out a new look in railroading styles. Cut to a 20th century pattern of beauty and economy, streamlined diesels this year will haul the fast freight on many a transcontinental run. 500 shiny engines powered by oil and electricity. Pantograph machines, guiding acetylene torches 6 at a time across plates of high-grade steel, cut out thousands of essential parts. The electronic pantograph is a key tool in mass manufacture. Its use will boost production of the switches and freights that will mean higher efficiency at less cost to railroaders all along the line. It's a man-sized job and ticklish business for crews directing the massive overhead cranes. Not quite the engine for your midget car, perhaps, but the answer to a railroad mechanic's prayer. Diesels deliver more power for a pound of fuel than any other engine made. Simple to service, it can run 24 hours a day. Long before it hauls its way through the Rocky Mountains, the steel streamliner is riding high on its way through the assembly lines. Craftsmen can look on it with pride. The frame is stressed like a bridge to meet the rough shock of starting a 10,000-ton load. It's a big moment when the finished body is lowered precisely onto its trucks and sub-assembly crews move in for final jobs. Last-minute couplings are secured. Painters administer a bright new coat before the first easy trial run. Old hoggers may feel a twinge as the sharp blast of the diesel cuts into the banshee wail of steam, but they'll be hauling more freight in greater comfort and safety than ever before, rolling out the first runs of a new era, railroading luxury style. Freight cars aren't being shunted into Vancouver Harbor. They're just embarking on the seagoing stretch of the Pacific Great Eastern Railway. All aboard and weigh anchor. Captain Casey Jones sets sail on schedule with a tug turning the railway barge towards the outer harbor. The 6-hour voyage is underway. The PGE serves interior British Columbia, but years ago, railway construction halted before steel had pushed through to Vancouver. So now freight starts off with a 45-mile sea trip before reaching the tracks. As the crowded harbor recedes, the tug lets out more cable for easier handling of the tow. Past Lions Gate Bridge, the crews settle down to their routine. Usually the trip is uneventful, but in bad weather, the heavy barge swings and yaws, and it takes skillful seamanship to navigate the rugged coast. As the journey nears its end, the cable is wound in. The tug draws alongside the barge again for the approach to the dock at Squamish. Tides make schedules on this seagoing railway. Barge and barge slip must be level before unloading and loading can begin. Once the barge is made fast, the train engineer works quickly to replace these cars with a new load before the tide disturbs the level of operation. Soon, the company plans a direct rail link to Vancouver, which will complete the system. A proposed extension to the Peace River District may swell its rising annual tonnage to over 500,000.
finished products for the interior, lumber, cattle, and coal coming out. Loaded and shipshape, it's time for Casey to start back again with a blast from his nautical train whistle. Turning into Howe Sound, surrounded by the shadowy beauty of the coast mountains, British Columbia's seagoing railway highballs it back to Vancouver.
When you first see her, she doesn't look like she's moving very fast. But to railroaders, she's known as a hotshot, a fast freight. And after the passenger carriers, she has a top priority on the line. She carries a payload of steel, oil, livestock, and hardware, fruits, vegetables, and meats. She picks up her cars at Toronto, draws them to her like a magnet from points 1,000 miles away. Then she's off, bound for Halifax. Soon after 406 leaves Brockville on the way to Montreal, she gets to be my responsibility, mine and the men working with me. I'm Assistant Superintendent of Terminals, Montreal.
Canadian National Winnipeg and Vancouver train is still waiting.
It's my job to get 406, along with 100 other freight and passenger trains, into the Montreal area and out again every day with the least possible delay. It's supposed to be all routine. But after 23 years on the railroad, I've learned never to take anything for granted.
Track number 5, Winnipeg and Vancouver. Track number 5.
My office is here in the terminal building. Don't spend much time here, though. Mostly just long enough to check in.
Morning.
Keeps me moving, but that's the way I like it.
Jackson here. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, can you give me the car number? Where are the others? Oh, wait a second till I find them. All right, I've got it now. That car was reported scaled and ready at 5 o'clock yesterday. There shouldn't have been any hitch. Okay. All right, I'll check on it.
Ed, remember that car order we got from Truro last week? Those 10 empty reefers?
I thought they'd canceled.
They want them again now. Now, I was wondering about the cars in the East Yard. I know they're all tied up, but...
Maybe we can get them released and on to 406 this evening. I'll check with the dispatcher. It's busy. I'll let you know, eh?
Yeah?
How's Advance 95?
The dispatcher is supposed to know the location of every train in his area every minute of the day and to coordinate their movements into a smooth running pattern. From his office in the terminal building, he keeps phone contact with operators along the line. If the phone goes out of order for any reason, he can switch over to telegraph in a matter of seconds.
Hello, dispatch.
Say, Charlie, what do you have on 406?
406 was by Cornwall at 8:14.
8:14, fine. That means she should hit Turcot just about on time.
That's right.
By now, she'd be just this side of Kodo, pelting along on the final stage of her overnight journey from Toronto. It takes a crew of experienced men to handle a train like 406. There's more to it than just driving the engine. Periodically, the head-end brakeman may pick up special train orders advising the crew of any changes in schedule on their section of the road. According to regulations, every man has to read his copy of the train orders aloud to another crew member to make sure they're both correct and understood. The head-end brakeman also looks after the braking system and watches for hot boxes. From the caboose, the rear-end brakeman also keeps a lookout for any signs of trouble. In the caboose with the rear-end brakeman is the conductor, the skipper of the train. It's his responsibility to keep her rolling and to handle any emergencies. The engine crew must always be on the lookout, but especially at level crossings. You never can tell when somebody's going to be fool enough to try to beat the train. It's amazing how many people seem to think you can stop 6,000 tons as easily as you can a bicycle. The conductor and the rear-end brakeman usually have a lot of seniority. This carries with it numerous practical advantages, as well as a few privileges.
Want some tea?
That'll be fine.
Right.
Normally, a fast freight like 406 is timed not to coincide with the passenger schedule, but sometimes this cannot be avoided. Then the freight has to pull into a siding or take the hole, as it's called, to clear the main line for the passenger train. Every man on the crew knows from reading his orders what the stop is for and what his duties are under the circumstances. The conductor, as always, has the overall responsibility. If there is more than one section of a passenger train, all but the last section must carry green, that is, display flags or lights to let trains in sidings know that there are other sections to come. At the same time, they must also give a special signal.
Engine 6532, no signals.
Only when a section passes without carrying green and giving the special signal can the freight proceed. As 406 moves on, the engineer is guided every foot of the way by automatic signals. Controlled from a central point in each division, the modern railway signal system is complex and very nearly foolproof. In the old days, signaling required almost as many men as there were signals, and traffic moved slowly, particularly near big cities. Now, electronic devices have reduced the number of people needed, and also the chance for error. As 406 got near the Turcot yards, I was on my way there too. I had to worry about getting 10 reefers cleared for Truro, among 100 other things. 23 years I've been on the railroad, brakeman, conductor, yardmaster. 23 years. But I still get a kick from looking out across a busy freight yard. They say after a while, railroading gets in your blood and you don't want to do any other kind of work. I know what they mean, because that's the way it is with me. Once 406 arrives at the west end of the yards, one stage of her trip is over. The conductor takes the train journal and waybills to the yard office, and the crew that brought her from Brockville is off duty. The diesels which brought 406 from Brockville take her as far as her assigned reception track and then leave her. Then they go to refuel before continuing on to Halifax, or, if necessary, go to the running maintenance shop. A locomotive stays in the shop anywhere from an hour to a full day, depending on the amount of work it needs. For instance, if she had to make an emergency stop during the run and developed a flat spot, the damaged wheel can be ground true again without removing it from the locomotive. Diesel locomotives can usually rack up a pretty impressive mileage figure before they need major repairs. 250,000 miles for freight locomotives, 500,000 for those pulling passenger trains. Diesel power won't be the last word for railroads. Turbojet engines are already being tested for practical uses. Then there's atomic power, which is almost certain to figure in our operations someday. But right now, diesels furnish over 65% of our motive power. And within 5 years, that figure will be 100%. I'd checked, and it looked as if the reefers, refrigerated cars to you, would be released to go out on 406 that afternoon. In the meantime, the cars she'd brought to Montreal were being processed in the yard office. The main yard office is the nerve center of any freight yard. Hundreds of cars come in and go out of Turcot every day, and quick, accurate decisions have to be made about each one. Otherwise, the whole system could get fouled up in a hurry.
Hello, Turcot repair track. Mr. Gill, please. Hello, CM 512630. Car for 406. Will that be ready for 12 o'clock? All right, sir, thank you. Go ahead. Oui. Chambre 510, 512, 630. Oui.
The freight yard is like an army, and its general is the yard master.
Have you got everything in line for 406?
On 406, well, 406, just a moment here. Turcot to 7156. 7156.
Engine 7156. Over.
How you fixed there to go on 406?
Well, I'm still working those National Sugar cars.
Well, all right, forget about it. I'll get 7153. We still have about a half an hour. He's not marked up yet.
Many of the cars 406 brought from Toronto are not going through to Halifax. So every single car has to be carded by a checker from the yard office, so the switching crews can pick it out with no trouble. Meanwhile, the train is blue flagged for inspection. The cars are given a thorough inspection, particularly their wheels and journal boxes. This is especially important because if a car develops an overheated bearing during a run, it may have to be left on a siding. This could mean the spoilage of a whole carload. Sometimes during inspection, a car is found unfit for service. These cars are called cripples, and with their loads still in them, they're sent to emergency repair sections in the yard called rip tracks. Mostly it's a wheel unit that needs replacing, and this can be done on the spot.
Don't drop your line till I tell you to, Inspector.
The damaged unit is sent to the shop. It's no easy trick to handle these wheel units. They weigh close to a ton. After 406 has been inspected, the switch engines begin to break her down. The cars consigned to Montreal and District will go to any of 1,000 sidings or factory warehouses. The rest, bound for the Maritimes, are hauled away to the point where the new train 406 is being made up. Other cars bound for the east have been collecting in the yards, cars from all over Quebec and the eastern United States. Now, on orders made up by the yardmaster's office, they're sent to join the cars which came from Toronto. In a few years, automatic switching yards will simplify this job. But right now, it's still largely a matter of the crew's skill and judgment. Of course, you gotta have a system that can find what you want when you want it. Including refrigerator cars.
That's the last of them, eh, Joe?
Yeah, that's it.
I've got to get over to the east yard. Would you call my office and tell Tom Payne those 10 reefers for Truro will be on 406 today?
Now the new 406 is ready and waiting. On the run to Halifax, you'll have a different engine and a different crew.
Hello, Turcot. One train for the board. Train 406 for 2 p.m.
78-309. 3 men to call.
Okay.
I need one card. What?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
406, 2 p.m. Mr. O'Reilly, Thibodeau, and LaBrusse.
That's us.
Will you sign, please? Got the right time, please?
5 to 12.
Thank you.
2 hours.
Well, bye.
Bye.
Two hours later, the crew start to assemble. This crew will take 406 as far as Joff, 150 miles down the line. On arrival in Joff, they'll have the choice of working the first available train back or asking for some rest time. Others work out of a pool on a rotation system. The diesels that will take her to Halifax cross the yard. she's ready to go. Like her arrival, 406's trip out of Montreal will be regulated from the Wellington Tower. This controls a complicated signal system known as an interlocker. Every light on the board represents either a train or a signal, and there are dozens of them.
Hello, dispatcher?
Yes, sir.
Could you give me
The busy Montreal area carries a lot of traffic. But with this system, there's practically no chance of collision. When a train is moving along any particular track, no other train can use that line because all entering switches are automatically locked from the tower.
As soon as number 5 clear, line up for 406 train for Halifax.
Right.
On my phone, eh?
406 is on the move. I'll give you the makeup. 5203, 5420, 5421, 5388, 1342, 1343.
Car numbers on a consist to railroaders, but they mean something else to merchants, manufacturers, farmers, and just plain consumers. They're goods to sell, materials to fabricate, machines to do the work, and clothes to wear. The world moves ahead pretty fast these days. We have planes that'll fly faster than the speed of sound. We have satellites and rockets and ballistic missiles. But there's also an awful lot of people who stay pretty well put, just do their jobs and raise their families. And they need 1,001 things that have to be moved from place to place around the country. As long as they do, 406 and trains like her will be needed to do the job.